listening to the CIP podcast, the Study Abroadcast, Season 2, Episode 1. I'm your host, Jacqueline. In this show, we explore the world of study abroad, offering advice, insights, and travel stories, bridging perspectives and cultures along the way. On this episode, we'll be speaking with the University of Guelph Field School Coordinator about their previous experience running a field school and their plans for the upcoming summer. Let's get right into it. Today on the show, we are pleased to welcome Dr. Julie Simmons. To get started, Dr. Simmons, can you tell our listeners a little about yourself?
My name is Julie Simmons, and I have been at the University of Guelph since 2003. I teach in the Department of Political Science, and I am currently the coordinator for the Criminal Justice and Public Policy program at the University of Guelph as well. And for 3 years, I lived in the Netherlands from 2017 to 2020, and I ran a field school there twice, both in 2018 and 2019. And prior to that, I was actually the coordinator of the London semester abroad in 2016, which was when Guelph students came to London for 12 weeks and took 5 courses there, 3 of which I taught. And all of the field schools and semesters abroad programs all emphasize experiential learning.
You have a lot of experience running these programs for students, so it's great to have your expertise on our show today. So if you're listening and you're wondering what a field school is, they are summer programs that are typically 2 to 6 weeks long in May or June, and you earn U of G credits while you travel with a group of U of G students and a U of G professor to take what you learn in the classroom and apply it to your experience abroad. Each summer, CIP offers different field schools, so don't forget to check out our website to see what field schools are being offered this summer. Julie, can you describe for our listeners some of your highlights from the Netherlands field school that you offered in the past and maybe what you're looking forward to this summer?
Yes, for me, the highlight is the students themselves. But in terms of the places and activities and things that we explore, definitely one of the big highlights from the last time that I ran the Netherlands Field School was visiting a Canadian cemetery where there was about 1,000 Canadian soldiers from World War II that had been buried, because Canada actually is known in the Netherlands for having liberated the country, and there are 3 cemeteries in the Netherlands full of Canadian soldiers. We visited the International Criminal Court in The Hague, which is an example of one of many institutions in that city which are global in scope and really reveal to students the extent to which we are all connected in the world as global citizens.
That sounds like a lot of great highlights. And is there one specific memory that stands out as your favorite?
Oh gosh, this is going to be really hard. Okay, let me think. So one really neat activity that we did as a group was to ride bicycles along the Atlantic Wall, which is the shoreline of the North Sea between The Hague and a little town called Wassenaar. And if you don't know, bikes are extremely commonplace in the Netherlands and more common than cars. So it was neat for the students to ride bikes like that. But the Atlantic Wall was the German fortification in World War II to prevent Allied forces from entering into land they occupied. And so we would stop from time to time, and I recall the students climbing onto the German bunkers that are made of cement on the shoreline, where they would have little slits for their artillery to fit through so that they could monitor any kind of forces coming towards them from the water. And I think for all the students just to experience the actual location of this important battle that, of course, changed all of the Western world was, I think, really meaningful. And to do it on bikes and take the whole day exploring was really cool, I think, for all the students to do.
That sounds amazing. So for our next question, for the field school programs, you travel together as a group. So what should students expect when it comes to group travel?
With the Netherlands Field School, students arrive in Amsterdam by plane, and they make their way to the hostel that we will be staying at for the time that we're in Amsterdam. We're in Amsterdam for about a week, and then we travel by train to The Hague. And they're about a half an hour apart, so it's a short train ride. But any other kind of travel that we do, students have a bus pass for the time that they're in the Netherlands, and so they're free to explore those two cities themselves. But if we venture beyond the cities, which we do from time to time, for example, I believe we went to the town of Delft one year. We take the train together. So if we're doing major activities, then we make sure to travel as a group, but otherwise students can also explore the cities independently.
It's nice to have that flexibility of the group travel, but also go out on your own. And so I guess it's kind of a good opportunity for students who maybe haven't traveled before. They can have the support of the group when going to the Netherlands and getting around to the different places.
Absolutely. There's a real sense of safety net in place that's put there by the university, in the sense that all of the accommodation has been vetted ahead of time, and all the arrangements are really made for you. Any kind of logistics about the places that we're visiting, what we're going to do, is all established ahead of time. So really, you just come and you are there to absorb everything that you can in the time that you're in the country.
That's amazing. So, as we've kind of talked about, field schools are quite different from the majority of the other programs that CIP offers. One of those reasons being because of the group travel. And so, what do you think are some of the main benefits for students who decide to participate in these field school programs?
I think it's the lived experience as the format for learning. So rather than sitting in a classroom, if you want to learn about how progressive the Netherlands is, I can tell you that it was an earlier legalizer of cannabis and prostitution and euthanasia and LGBTQ plus rights. Or you can experience it by visiting the red light district and having a tour there, or having someone show you how sex workers are validated as tax-paying contributors to Dutch society, and getting a sense of the securities that are put in place by virtue of prostitution being legalized. And those things are definitely out of our comfort zone as Canadians, but again, we're doing that within the safety of traveling with a group, with a legitimate tour company. But it really is definitely something you're not going to forget. And it really gives you a sense of a different way of organizing a society than what you know to be your own experience within Canada.
That sounds like a great opportunity. So, if students are interested in learning more about the upcoming Netherlands Field School, what should they do?
We're going to be having a information session later on in the fall, and that date will be available on the website, I believe, for the field schools. And students can also contact me directly by email at simmonsj@uoguelph.ca.
Thank you. Yes. So we will have your email also up on our website. And once we do have the date confirmed, we will send out an email to students who have completed our information session. So they'll get some updates, and we post updates on our social media. So after you've talked more to Dr. Simmons and you decided that you want to go on this field school, how do students apply to a field school program?
There's an application process online, and students need to complete that process by January, I believe. And then there is a selection process of the applicants. And largely, I believe students can rank the opportunities in terms of the field schools, which one is their 1 through 3 choice. And then we work to put together groups appropriately across the field schools, and also ensure that the students that are going to attend the field schools are going to be able to complete the work based on their previous academic track record.
Yeah, so if you are interested, and if you haven't completed the study abroad information session yet, that'll be your first step. That way In January, as Julie mentioned, you'll be able to submit your application for the field school program and start that process. So as our final question, what tips or advice would you give to students who are considering applying or participating in a field school?
My advice would be to keep an open mind wherever it is you go, because the neat thing about field schools is, in every case, it will expose you to things that are not common in Canada and is an opportunity for you to see things from a different vantage point that you can't necessarily do if you're just studying them in a classroom. And really to just think about it with an open mind and absorb all that you can. And then afterwards, you can think about if you might want to revisit some of your own assumptions about the place that you're from in Canada. And it might change your opinions about issues and activities and things, or it might reaffirm what you already had as viewpoints about how society works. But it's definitely a chance for you to see things from a different vantage point, which you wouldn't want to miss the opportunity to take part in.
That's some really great advice and definitely true. Field schools are a great opportunity to really immerse yourself into a different culture and see what they have to offer. Well, that's all for today's episode of the Study Abroadcast. Don't forget to explore your own study abroad opportunities on the CIP website, uoguelph.ca/CIP, or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Our Instagram handle is CIP_Guelph. Thanks for listening, and thanks for Dr. Simmons joining us today, sharing your insights and travel stories. Stay tuned for our next episode where we look to unpack the study abroad experience even further.